We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 80.1 FM, KKJZ, HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now our World Broadcasting Tag Team Champions of the World and a Cruiserweight Champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
This is episode 195 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. Of course, I am your host, Ethan Jordan, alongside the analyst James Williams and producer Rob Flores. One of these days we'll get through an episode without any issues, but we're almost at 200 and we're still trying to figure it out. Anyways, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at RealBTR Radio, as well as at EthanMB95. You can follow James at...
Yeah, you can follow me on the Bird app at JHW Reporter.
And you can follow Rob on...
Rob Flores Media, and don't forget the R-Tooth, the answer, Ethan.
In a segment with Carmella, I think, this week. I'm watching the episode now. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, let me...
Big news. Hold on. Before we get to that. We got some big news, sir.
Yeah, I know. We got
breaking news.
Yeah, R-Truth.
We got to acknowledge our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, the biggest news story of the week.
That's not breaking news.
I know, but, I made it seem more important because...
I can't with you. Stop. God.
What's going on with R-Truth?
I don't know. R-Truth was running around with Tamina and different things. Yeah, it looks like Dana Brooke is going to be getting into a feud with Carmella here. It would appear, and
hopefully,
they kind of took some verbal jabs back and forth backstage. R-Truth, I guess was chasing Dana Brooke, and after the Dana Brooke encounter with Carmella, R-Truth comes up and he's surprised to see Carmella. Says, "Oh, you're back." And it looks like we're going to kind of get them reunited. It almost looked like it wasn't going to happen there at first because it looked like Carmella was going to no sell him there a little bit. But looks like she has her mind made up that she's going to go after Dana Brooke and that R-Truth is somehow going to help her. So looks like we're going to still get that storyline taking place. But it looks like Carmella's going to go into that storyline, which is, I don't know if you're Carmella, if you're too thrilled about that, just considering, I guess where, you're just kind of getting thrown in the mix. But whether or not she's unhappy, we don't know. But I know a pair of females in WWE that are a little upset with their booking.
24/7 Championship has basically become the mid-card for the women's division, the mid-card title at this point.
I mean, yeah. And the thing is that might be the problem.
It might be the problem for some people. Some people aren't happy that some titles aren't being treated on the same level as some other titles. Of course, we're talking about two WWE superstars by the name of Sasha Banks and Naomi. Some interesting reports here. I was at work, I think, when this happened, and I had just seen a report that Naomi and Sasha Banks had just walked out.
They took their ball. They took their ball and went home.
They pulled a Bret Hart.
No, they did not. They pulled a Stone Cold, dummy.
All right. Well, didn't Bret Hart leave 10 times or something? I don't know. I felt like he left a bunch of times. Anyways.
No, you're lying.
I saw that tweet from someone. I was like, okay, whatever. I'll look at it after work. WWE issued a statement about this. So this is from WWE's side of the story, which is interesting because we never hear this kind of thing directly from the company. This was the statement from WWE. When Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with two of their opponents, even though they had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver as advertised tonight's main event. There's a lot in that statement.
Yeah, there kind of
was a lot. So first and foremost. Basically, what was promoted was a 6-pack challenge, the number one contenders match that would lead to a match against Bianca Belair. Go ahead.
Thanks. How does the 6-pack challenge thing work again? Is it just
It's
like
basically
gauntlet style?
like a 4-way? No, it's like a 6-way match, like a fatal
every,
4-way.
everyone in the ring. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
gotcha.
basically same thing. Just 6 individuals. The participants were, of course, Naomi and Sasha Banks, who were tag team champions.
Mhm.
Asuka and Becky Lynch, and Doudrop and Nikki ASH. Those were the participants involved. So they were informed of the match early on, obviously, as you know, all the talent is informed of what they're supposed to do for the day. They apparently did meet up with Johnny Ace, everyone's favorite talent relations person.
Right.
And apparently, as it says in the statement here, they had suitcases in their hands and dropped their tag team championships and walked out, claimed they weren't respected enough. The interesting thing here is that WWE says they were uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents, even though they've had matches with them without consequences in the past. Don't think it was Asuka or Becky that they have issue with, because they're longtime veterans. The other 2 participants are Nikki ASH and Doudrop, who they had a tag team match last week on Monday Night Raw. I actually just saw that match early this morning, I believe, actually. I didn't see anything wrong with that match. I don't know if there were some issues there or what, but if they're talking about those 2, I don't know what's going on there. Apparently, they have their own side of the story, and this could be, I don't want to go too into that because it's not directly from them, but I will say apparently they just wanted to defend the tag titles against them rather than be involved in singles matches, because apparently Naomi was scheduled to win this match and face Belair, and then Sasha was reportedly expected to face Ronda Rousey. So they would each have their own singles match, but obviously would not be defending their tag team titles, which obviously has been an issue in the past about those titles kind of being treated fairly.
And I mean, and that's always kind of been the thing just in general with, I mean, Sasha,
It's not the first time Sasha's walked out.
Well, I mean, that was the whole thing. I mean, if anything, if she does come back, they need to learn to just don't ever put her in a tag team match again, because the tag team titles is always what it leads to her walking out or being disappointed because she's
unhappy with the way they're treated. Yeah.
Well, and I guess I get it because her and Bailey were the ones that were asking for it or whatever, right? They wanted this, but
they didn't get the run that they felt they got. Oh, at least their first run. I think their second
run. When did they get it? When did she walk out?
It was after WrestleMania 35
when they lost the tag titles.
They lost those titles after about a month.
Okay, and then
they won those back during the pandemic. You know, that's when they were double champions, and you know that's when they were a big deal. Yeah.
But it's so, I guess I'm just trying to understand the issue. And so they are both
apparently
SmackDown. They're on the SmackDown roster, correct?
They're on the SmackDown roster, but
let alone the fact that they're tag champions and so they could bounce around or whatever, right? I guess that's the reasoning here. Because they shouldn't be in the 6-pack. They shouldn't be competing for the Raw Women's title anyways.
You have guys on SmackDown showing up on Raw. You had Los Lotharios, who are SmackDown superstars, go off against Finn Balor and AJ Styles this past week. So this brand split is just thrown out at this point. They just throw whoever they want. There's star power with Sasha and Naomi. So, you want to make a big main event. And apparently they want to elevate those singles titles. So you put the women's tag team champions in there. But I mean, yes, I agree. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have tag champions when they could be defending those titles
right
in a singles match. Go ahead.
The thing is, are they I guess this is the thing we're not going to find out right away when they're, whatever the true story is going to be.
We'll probably never find out the true story. Well,
are they upset that they didn't get that? I mean, it's not like you're upset about winning and being the number one contender for the title, but it's like you also know you're not going to win it, right? So then,
I'm pretty sure they know they're not going to win those titles,
exactly,
which is why they're probably upset.
Right. So it's a matter of why not just have a tag team match, which I get. And if that's the situation, then I guess I get it. But if it's, would they be in the main event? They'd be in this match. And then if they lose, they're not happy. I read something where it was like, oh, Naomi was supposed to pin Sasha or something, like whether or not that's true. And someone, oh, they weren't supposed to interact, or they were going to interact with Doudrop and Nikki, and that was going to start like that feud or something. I don't know. It's just kind of confusing, like what they're upset about, and we're not going to know.
Unless they say something directly,
which will end up being on a DVD in 10 years or something. But the thing is you're putting your titles on the desk, right? And that makes me just think
they're relinquishing those titles. I mean, in a certain way, they've basically given up. They're not sticking around to fight for what they want. They're walking out.
I mean,
they dropped those titles. They just said, "Here."
Yes, but it's just kind of like, are they doing enough for the tag division as it is? Probably not.
No, the tag division never really had a hot start. Maybe at the beginning it did, but then after that, it kind of just fell off right away.
The thing is always end up being some.
It's a makeshift tag team.
Well, it becomes some pair of Nikki, Natalia, and Shayna.
Basically.
All like, it's like they're one of them's always in it. They just have a new partner or something. But it's like
Shayna was with Nia, Natalia was with Tamina.
But you have Tamina, you have Dana Brooke, you have now Carmella. Like all three of them. What is Selena doing? Like, have them in it. But it's hard to like. It's hard. I don't want to say it's hard to make a women's tag team because that's not true or fair. But it's like
it's hard to keep them up when they're trying to.
I kind of want something organic, like I kind of got the Nia Jax Tamina thing. I get the Iconics thing. I get who is
because they started out as that.
Because they start out as that, or there's some family tie, or I don't want to say they look similar, but that's kind of more or less what all tag teams are or end up being, right?
Right. They have the matching attire. They have similar moveset, probably similar style. It just fits. They mold. They have that chemistry. Makes sense.
And that's kind of what Sasha and Naomi were.
They had a blend of that for sure.
But then it's also like they do that for one, and then what? It's like, but what are you doing for them? So I understand the frustration there, but I don't know. So did you see this guy Adidas Head 88? I don't know, on Twitter. Supposedly he talked to Sasha and Naomi. I don't know if he knows.
Yes, that's where I kind of saw that post. I didn't want to go off of it because I don't know how legit it is.
Because I don't know. I think Naomi may follow him. Like, because I saw another one after, but I wasn't like sure what that is.
I don't want to share that. Obviously, WWE made their statement public, so that's what they believe, or at least or what they're going off of.
So Sasha and Naomi haven't tweeted anything, haven't put anything out. But let's break down. We have a couple minutes here. The WWE
the
post press release, whatever. Okay. Because a lot of people were upset. We're not upset, but people were tweeting like, "Oh, well, where was this when CM Punk left? Where was this when?" Like they were kind of throwing it out for when Charlotte and Nia Jax were fighting or different. And it's like, they're different situations, but. I mean, if they were, if this was the era when Stone Cold did this, they probably would have put a press release out for that too.
Probably.
Like, I don't know, but do you have any thoughts? Does it come off as weird? Some people probably think that it's taken as like, oh, they're bashing the women. Oh, or they're look at them trying to treat Sasha or Naomi. They're trying to drag them down or mess them up.
There are people thinking that this is a work because WWE never does something like this, which. Everything could be a work. That's what we always think of whenever something happens. Something weird happens like this. It could just be WWE trying to get ahead of the game before, they get bad publicity. They're going to get it regardless because, they're
I mean,
the company.
the thing is it was
it's-
advertised on a show, right?
It was advertised before the show, and then they advertised it
Like-
at the beginning of the show, during the show,
During the
is
show,
when they
and that's
switched
when
it, and they did the Oscar Becky match, and said
And so I didn't see when that happened. I missed, like, I mean,
it
I
was
didn't,
apparently like a last minute segment that they filmed between Adam Pearce and Becky, where Adam Pearce in the middle of the show said,
Mhm.
"All right, and they acknowledged, no pun intended, they acknowledged that Sasha and Naomi had left with their suitcases. They had mentioned it in the show.
yeah, I see.
Corey Graves
Yeah.
said something saying, a professional, that they walked out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little odd that they would do that. What's more odd to me is WWE saying, Monday Night Raw is a scripted like TV show
Yeah.
and character. That's kind of the weird thing.
That's different.
Did they have to really mention? I don't know if that was
I
necessary.
mean, they do, because you have to explain to ticket buyers and everyone else, like, why.
Yeah, but they could always say cards subject to change,
Right,
rather than,
which-
than straight
right.
up say, it's a scripted show,
Mhm.
which I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Are they fed up with Sasha?
Probably.
Do they have reason to be? Like, I mean, because part of me is like, well, maybe Sasha's right. And it's hard for me to not say that they're right when we just talked it over, and I'm like, well, I mean, they're really not doing a whole lot for them. But at the same time, it's like, it's always Sasha.
At the
And
same time,
I hate saying that, but
I feel like Sasha's always in and out of the. I don't know, for whatever reason, she's always doing something outside.
well, because someone's like, oh, she wants to be a movie star. And every
Right.
time someone says something like that, I'm like, I don't think that's true, because this is the same girl who's like, oh, all I want to do is be in WWE.
I just saw her
Right.
WWE Evil episode. Yeah,
Right.
she was talking about it.
Like, that's all, like, this is supposed to be it, right? This is everything. But I mean, again, if you can dream about something, then it's not what you want it to be, or part of it's not what you want it to be. I mean, she's not a bad person by any means. It's not like
No.
she's doing anything crazy. I know we're running up against a break here. Maybe I think at this point we probably have to kind of carry it over into at least some of the next segment.
We'll finish it off in the next segment. But when we return, we'll talk more Sasha Naomi. Talk about a legend who's coming out of retirement for one more match. It's not the tribal chief, because he's going to stick around, even though he's part-time now, which is fine. The man gets some rest. His back hurts from carrying the show.
No,
Like me,
get out
like
of
my
here.
back hurts
Get
from
out of
carrying the
here.
show.
Go to a break.
When we return, we'll talk more Roman Reigns right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ, HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 195 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. Of course, I am your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and producer, Rob Flores. And of course, always remember to acknowledge your tribal chief. Look at him. He's right there. Right there. Did you see that TikTok of them reacting to that entrance?
At first, I was kind of like, I wasn't sure if they were really reacting to it or not. But it looked like they were. I think WWE's official account,
they shared it. Yeah,
shared it. I mean, I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I thought.
Wise man got all the people talking. The little wise man.
Who?
The
Paul,
little Heyman. Yeah.
the little Heyman guy. Yeah, I kind of saw him a little bit. He didn't really. Maybe.
Did you watch the original one? It was the full version of it.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
I
just watched the short. Okay.
Yeah, you'll notice it more in that one.
Because in the short one, like the TikTok one, it was more.
It was focused on.
He was more in the background, and they were kind of trying to react to it, the Heyman thing, I think, but I couldn't really see it. But I didn't know. Send me that later. I'll check it out. But
Heyman was trying to sue.
Oh, of course, Heyman's trying to make a buck if he can. But yeah, before we went to a break there, we were talking about
someone related to the bloodline, Naomi,
yes.
of course, and someone related to Snoop Dogg, Sasha Banks. I mean, some high-profile names there.
Yeah,
all
one of the Usos,
names. Yeah,
married to Naomi.
Absolutely. We were talking about Naomi and Sasha Banks reportedly walking out and leaving their WWE Women's Tag Team titles on the desk of talent relations, person in charge of talent relations, John Laurinaitis, Johnny Ace. We saw a number of wrestlers kind of tweet out their support for Naomi and Sasha. This was from Shayna Baszler's official Instagram account here. It's a pretty lengthy quote, but I'll try and get through it here. Listen closely, brothers. For my life's breath is all but spent. There shall come a time far from now when our chapter itself is dying, even as I am now dying. Then, my sons, I shall listen for a call from whatever realms of death hold me, and come I shall. No matter what laws of life and death forbid, at the end I will be there for the final battle. For the wolf time, Lemon Russ. I don't know who that is, but very philosophical, sounds like. And the pictures include the most recent match between Shayna Baszler and Talia versus Boss and Glow, their team name, I think, which is Saucer Banks and Naomi. So obviously she's referencing them too, and seemingly showing support there. Who else was showing support, James?
Yeah, it looked like Bailey was showing some support as well. Obviously, pretty good friends here with Sasha. So this came around after the afternoon, the day after this whole thing kind of played out. So Bailey just kind of tweeted, "Remember, follow your heart, kid, and you'll never go wrong." I feel like a wrestler probably told her that. That sounds familiar.
Probably.
But it sounds like there's a lot of support there. And it's kind of, if this is about the tag division, the tag titles, and obviously the women are kind of supporting it or saying, hey, they have a point here. It just kind of makes me wonder if this was the direction that the tag division was going anyways, where they were going to wait a month anyways, have both of those champions in singles as number one contenders for each of the belts. And now that you have the girls putting the belts on the table here, are we going to have a situation here where how do you bring it back? How do you bring the tag division back? How do you bring the titles back? Do you even bother doing that? I mean, it's just kind of an interesting, like, there has to be an overall effort, an overhaul made, I feel, for whatever that division is going to be. You got plenty of women. I think didn't they not have another women's night or something on NXT, or they're doing a tournament?
They're having that breakout tournament, 8 individuals, I believe. And they have more, obviously, in the division in NXT. They've released some over the last several months, obviously. Right. We've talked about it here on the show numerous times. So it's not like they're short on women. But let's face it, tag team wrestling in WWE for the longest time really hasn't been huge. I mean, you got the Usos, you got these guys, obviously. You got RK Bro, which are widely successful, and they've had huge support. You got the New Day, which is arguably one of the biggest tag teams of the last 25 years, or however you want to say. So you've got some big tag teams here, but like overall as a whole, you don't see too many tag teams. There's not like 6 or 7 tag teams at one time.
I mean, sure, it's not the Road Warriors, it's not the Road Warriors, Nasty Boys, whoever else was
the Hart Foundation, the Rockers.
Hart Foundation, Arn Tully. It's not like it's loaded, like, because if you have tag teams, that's like half your roster has to be made up of tag teams.
They've got tag teams here. It's just they're not
for men, maybe, but not for women.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tag team wrestling in general has just never been a focal point, at least in WWE. The last 15 years, at least 20 years. They had the Dudleys, Hardys, Edge of Christian kind of all at once, kind of carrying that division. Overall for men, and now especially the women, like, you don't have too many tag teams to build upon, and if you don't try, of course it's not going to go anywhere.
But the thing is like, it's been done before with just the women's evolution in general, right? And an effort being put behind it, and it's not like you can say they tried it and it didn't work because it was kind of over. Like no one had a problem with it, right? There just has to be an effort. there has to be a day where writers are sitting down and it's laid out on paper. It has to be old school where you're mapping it out a couple 6 months in advance.
That's the problem.
Right?
That's
You
the
have
problem.
to write out 6 months. They write a storyline. Yeah, you write a month or two storyline, and then you're like, okay, what's next? You wait for that to end, and then you start writing it. Sometimes it feels like they're writing as they go. So
They're writing in the middle of the show. We've heard numerous stories of Vince last minute changes things around. So of course there's not going to be any cohesion. Of course there's not going to be a dedicated women's tag division. They're going to pair off whoever they can, whoever's not doing anything. Let's make those the tag team of the month, and let's have them win the titles. Have a 3 to 6 month title reign.
Mm-hmm.
Do it again with another tag team that they're going to put together. And I understand it's not going to work.
The thing is like you're getting a good group of girls coming back, right? Just like you're getting people back. You're getting Lacey Evans. She comes out and cuts a promo. I wonder well, never mind, but like you get Lacey Evans, right? And she comes out, she does this promo. She looks great. Like I wasn't bored with what her original gimmick was when she first kind of came on. I was kind of like, I'm over this. But she comes out and I'm kind of like, what is this? Because I mean, I guess it's the third week. She's probably came out and do a promo. I saw someone tweet, I think it was Denise Salcedo from Fightful, I think tweeted like, I think it was her, where it was like, oh, 1 week Lacey's a heel. Then she was a babyface, now she's a heel, and then she was a babyface just in terms of her promo. She came out, she just said a few words, looked great, and it's kind of like, oh, it looks like they're kind of trying to build her up for something, and you're kind of like, okay. Then you have Alexa Bliss coming back. You're putting Sonya Deville out of her advisor role, or authority role, and you're kind of putting her in a match. You have her having this little storyline with Alexa starting. So, you just had Asuka come back. Bailey's coming back sometime soon, I would imagine. So it's like I would
hope so, yeah.
They got people. It's not like any of them are like, oh, there's an instant tag team there. But start making some tag teams in NXT. Like do something. Like especially
they've got the beautiful Toxic Attraction.
Bring them up. Like
I'm ready for them to show.
But even then, that's not enough.
No,
because that's going to get you through a month.
I mean, right? Crying out loud, you had Dakota Kai and Raquel Rodriguez now.
Well, you got her on there too, yeah.
Now she's on SmackDown by herself, whatever.
But it's like there's
Shotzi and Ember Moon at one point.
Yeah, Shotzi and Ember Moon. Yeah, it's like there's stuff that
you had Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta a couple weeks ago, and now you don't. It's like they're just no.
It's just you gotta get maybe move on from them for a little bit.
It might be time to just get rid of those titles and just do a mid-card title.
And I'm not saying it has to be a forever thing, but I think for the time being, it needs to be a step away from it, and then like it's something that's reevaluated, right? Like, it just needs to go away for a little bit and come back fresh. The same too with well, to your point, maybe do a mid-card or like a TV, title or whatever. I mean, for the women,
it'll give them something else to do, something else to fight for.
You could, but you don't want it to come off as a copy of what AEW, I guess, has done, right? Isn't there TBS title or
they have the TBS title? Yeah, it's all right. I mean, they need more than just a singles women's title. On each
they do, but they got two. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. You got two. I mean, are we reunifying those? What are we doing? Like
that's not happening. You got Ronda holding one, and you got Bianca. Unless you're gonna,
at least you're gonna job out Ronda.
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Bianca's not beating her.
So it's just, I don't know. There's a lot. We gotta wait and see how things unfold. And
I'm sure by next episode when we record, I'm sure we're gonna have something probably interesting. We'll maybe either hear their side of the story officially. Maybe they'll be back on TV.
I was gonna say
they'll be out.
I was gonna say, did you want to make a prediction there? Like, do you Are they
Sasha-
back? Go ahead.
Sasha has all the options in the world. Like she does.
In
She's
terms of
Star
out of
Wars.
wrestling, right? Yeah.
Out of wrestling, she's got options.
Yeah.
Not saying she's gonna leave wrestling altogether. No, she's got AEW. They'll make her the face of the company there probably for the women's division.
Yeah.
Naomi, another interesting situation. Not saying she doesn't have those opportunities. But let's face it, she's been primarily WWE. It's not like she's had a whole lot of outside of her opportunities. Her starting out outside of WWE's jurisdiction might be a little harder for her. And I feel like if she ends in
her husband's in the company.
Her husband's in the company. But if she ends up in AEW, I feel like she's going to be another one of these individuals that just ends up on Dark 2 weeks later.
Maybe
it's already happening with Tony Storm and all those people.
And the thing is she's not a bad wrestler.
She's not. I'm not saying she's bad. It's
right,
just,
but that's what
she
I'm
would
saying.
Just get kind of lost. She would just kind of get lost in the shuffle. I feel like Sasha Banks she's done Star Wars stuff. She's already out there. She's got a bit of a name. She's obviously related to Snoop Dogg, as we mentioned several times. She's made her own path, but let's face it, she has more opportunities to where she doesn't necessarily need WWE. Not saying Naomi needs WWE, but it's not like she's really done much outside of the company for her to be okay leaving.
And it's kind of an interesting thing too, where it's kind of like, I don't want to put it all on Sasha because I feel like that's not fair when we don't know the situation, but
right.
Would Naomi have
Sasha,
done this otherwise?
I was gonna say, I just mentioned this earlier and I forgot. You reminded me. Did Sasha give Naomi some Kool-Aid to drink, or what's going on?
Because it sounds like it was a big again.
I could be.
Well, I mean, hey, if Naomi was supposed to win this match, like,
if I'm Naomi, I'm like, oh, I get a title match. I mean, she wasn't gonna win, but it's a big deal against Bianca Belair. That's a good match.
It's still a title shot. You're featured in it.
It's a pay-per-view match. She's featured on a pay-per-view. When was the last time Naomi was featured on the pay-per-view?
When are the both? Well, I'll say when is the time both women's titles were, but the last two pay-per-views. Yeah. But so it's not like, I mean,
it didn't seem like a bad idea.
They would be good matches, but
look, they would go nowhere. They would obviously be kind of be a
filler. But I feel
filler.
like for Sasha,
they would be smart to build the tag division around them. They would be smart.
But in terms of, but why would Sasha not want to do this? Look, you haven't done anything with the tag titles in 2 months. Or whatever it is, right?
They've defended it a couple of times, but there's nothing. We're no meat on the bone.
Is there anything? Is there something written out 2 months from now on what is going to be?
No tag teams.
That's what I'm saying. So if you have it another month build up or whatever to Hell in the Cell, I mean, you're getting 2 matches, right? They're going to be good matches. At least Sasha would, everyone would want to see Sasha Ronda. People would want to see.
Did we see that already?
I don't know. I don't know if we have. I
feel like we have at the
Rumble. If we did, we don't remember it.
Yeah,
do you remember it? I don't.
Really.
But then you're also getting a Naomi Belair. I can't remember ever seeing that, and I would be a little interested in watching that, even if I knew the result.
Yeah, that would be a good match.
So it's like you would be getting good matches out of it, I would think, and then you can just go back and somehow do a tag team thing. I don't know.
Have Doudrop and Nikki get involved. I know nobody really likes those DQ finishes, but they could be distractions, and that's how you get you build your tag division and build a tag team title match for the next major event, which is Money in the Bank. I think they mentioned that they had plans to defend those titles there at Money in the Bank, which is a big stadium show.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hell in a Cell is the next one though, and they weren't too happy with those titles not being defended there. So, historically speaking, it's the tag titles. The Intercontinental Championship hasn't been defended at a pay-per-view since last year's WrestleMania. So,
really,
I've read that fact. Not since Big E lost to Apollo, has that title been defended at a pay-per-view. So, they've got issues with multiple championships. It's not just women's tag team titles.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be upset at that, but it's multiple championships that WWE is kind of dropping the ball on.
Real quick before we hit another break,
we have to talk about other stuff next.
We're going to talk about other stuff, so that's why I want to just finish it. Is it concerning to you at all that Sasha that it's Sasha and Naomi, where Sasha's had her walk out, like she's left, she's taking time away, and Naomi's been someone who Naomi could just think, hell, they ain't using me half the time anyways, or people want me, but they don't.
I feel like she's been upset too before. She's been pretty open about that.
That's what I'm saying.
Stated. I'm not gonna be surprised if they're not in the company in a few weeks. Honestly, if I'm being real, like at this point, nothing's gonna surprise me because I would not be surprised if they're not here.
But when we come back though, I want to talk about the Cody Rhodes and the Edge stable, and
all that more right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 80.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 195 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. Of course, I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and producer, Rob Flores. You can find us over on Anchor, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us a like, share it, leave a comment. Love to see all that. Make sure to find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes. And on YouTube, just search up Beyond the Ropes. Let's talk about our favorite superstar, shall we? Let's talk about Seth freaking Rollins. What a star, Yeah,
they made it like he wasn't there. He was a part-timer. No.
He's backstage, sir.
I thought it was a great I'll give Seth Rollins credit. It's pretty entertaining just because like this whole dance thing. I think you showed me this video where Riddle and Seth was dancing and Seth does just this the dance is just so weird.
He's just
it's like I don't know if hip's the word, but he's like inspired by the Joker or whatever. It's pretty funny. So anyways, you had the Cody counter. You had Cody Rhodes come out.
The countdown to Cody. See that?
I saw something about it. I never
actually saw still talking about it.
But someone on Twitter was like, I'm all for it. Like they want it. Like they're like, put it in bold, like have it out there. And I'm like, okay. I mean,
7 o'clock hour. There you go.
I mean, hey, Cody told them like, hey, if you want me, you're gonna have to go out. They're going all out for the man, I guess. But he started off, he came out, and I thought the promo was very interesting from Cody, and I thought maybe we're gonna go in a different direction for a hot second. He's like, well, now where do I go from here? And just the fact that, let's talk about history, and they really kind of brought up like it really kind of got into the storytelling that maybe I wish they would have done before the second match, right? Of we have crossed paths before. Here's where I was in my career as Seth Rollins and them come in as the Shield, and then I had to slap on the face paint and do a song and dance and lose every night. And he really kind of explained how he felt, and so I thought they did a great job with a lot of that. I think what they talked about, it was like 2012, I think is when some of that happened. So just very kind of interesting. I thought it was good storytelling. It more or less comes down to, hey, do we want to see Seth Rollins, Cody for the third time, this time in a Hell in a Cell? They made it out like Seth wasn't there. He shows up on the big screen, or do they still call him the Titantron nowadays?
Showed up on
the monitor, whatever they call it. And
giant LED boards.
Yeah, giant LED board. He comes out, he shows up on the screen, he does a little dance, and they pretty much made the match official that they wanted to have it.
Hold on, where are they gonna have it, James? Say it with me, James.
Well, they're gonna have it at Hell in a Cell, the premium live event. So I would have been a little bit more excited about this match if it was 1-1 in the series and not 2-0.
I mean, it feels a little more personal this time around to me.
It does, but
I'm all for it.
But
give me a good match.
But what is? I just wish have Cody lose. What do you like? There's no reason to hold on to Cody winning. Like he's not going to win every match, right?
It's too soon.
What is it too soon for? Get it out of the way. He's not Goldberg. Like, get it out of the way.
He might be booked out.
Yeah, I know, but that's the problem. I mean, if he's supposed to be
By
this
the
baby
way,
face,
side note, I was at Walmart earlier today.
okay.
They had so many Goldberg action figures
Well, yeah, no one wants that.
with the Universal Championship, and then there was a 2-pack with him and Drew when they faced off at the Rumble. With Goldberg wearing those shorts, he was wearing the long shorts.
I
So,
didn't even know that was a thing, but
they had the Alexa Bliss Funko.
Oh, yeah.
And Dude Love Funko.
but they want to, Goldberg is so over and sells merch, and
Well, this is a Walmart. Like, who buys toys at Walmart?
sir, I still have
did-
all my action wrestling figures that I bought all from Walmart and Target. And
I just
Toys R
bought
Us,
I just
but-
bought three Funko Pops at Walmart. So
Yeah.
that's what I was there for. So.
Yeah, exactly. So shush. No, but yeah, so I just think I just kind of wish this was an actual tiebreaker match and you settle in a Hell in a Cell and you're like, yes, this is exactly what you need to end a feud that's tied at 1-1. Obviously that's not the case. I guess you can make the point that maybe it is a little bit more personal this time, I guess,
I'm
but
gonna make a prediction here.
okay.
Cody wins, but I think Seth either wins winning the bank or he costs Cody. Somehow, some way, I feel like Seth is gonna end up with the title. If he wins winning the bank, he could be the one that cashes it in, and Cody just goes after him.
I don't want to after this on this. I don't want to see anything with Cody and Seth.
Unless Seth wins, maybe Seth. Maybe
I think
they do
Seth-
it Hell in a Cell.
The thing is once they said, okay, let's do it and let's do it in a Hell in a Cell, then I start thinking,
I feel like
well,
there's
then
more.
Seth has to win. I'm thinking Seth has to win, but I'm
He
just
might
thinking
win.
if you're Cody and you come back and you say, hey, you put me in the biggest and brightest matches. Not that that's how you would ever describe Hell in a Cell, but
It's the biggest match. One of the
but
biggest matches.
it's one of those big marquee matches, right? And
Mhm.
it just makes me think yeah, I can see Cody Rhodes wanting to be in this match for that reason, and because it makes for good storytelling later on. You get a little color, right? But this is a match I would want Cody to win, but I don't know how or why he would win this if he's already 2-0 in the series.
Well, he's on the Hell in a Cell poster, and who's not advertised?
Not Roman Reigns.
He said, "Doesn't work for me, brother."
Doesn't work for me, brother.
He said he ain't doing no Hell in a Cell.
I mean,
he's that's too much damage on his body. Can't afford to injure the tribal chief. So,
yes,
I
but
don't blame him.
I mean, I don't want him in the Hell in a Cell. He's been in it. Give me Cody Rhodes. That's a little different. I can't say I've seen Cody Rhodes in Hell in a Cell before.
He has.
Has he?
And he and
Was it
DiBiase
like-
against DX.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Not a single. Not this Cody.
Not singles. Not a match between two like guys, right? Because
Yeah.
Cody and DiBiase is just kind of like young
Mhm.
upstart. Anyway, so I just think I just don't see how Cody wins this. I mean, I think
He's
I think
gonna
it's a
win.
good match. I think
He's
it's a
gonna
good
win.
showing.
He's probably gonna win.
But why then? But what was the point of having the match? Like, okay, you could beat Seth Rollins. I mean, if anything, like to me,
He
that
needs
just
to
puts
beat
him
him.
above Seth Rollins.
He needs to beat him clean. No surprises. No grabbing the tights.
Yeah,
I know
but
it's a Hell in a Cell,
listen,
but
listen.
it's-
Yes,
but,
exactly. Because then
it's
you're gonna
still-
say, "Oh, it's a Hell in a Cell." He beat him
but
in
there's
a Hell
no
in a Cell.
rules.
He bashed his
so
head into the cage. So, is this the only Hell in a Cell we're gonna get, or is there a women's one? I think I heard about. Maybe no.
I'd be surprised.
This might
if
be
we get
it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, yes, I wanted to
The
bring them
Judgment
up,
Day.
even though at first I was like, "Why are you mentioning the Judgment Day pay-per-view?" But I like what they're doing, and I like what they're teasing,
Mhm.
saying there's supposed to be more. But I also like what they're doing here. Now we had Alexa Bliss. Wait, is that right? Not Alexa. What is her name?
Liv
Not
Morgan.
not Alexa. Liv Morgan. I thought I had the first name wrong and the last name wrong. I got them mixed up. We talked about Liv. We talked about Alexa Bliss earlier in the show, so my apologies. But Liv Morgan, was like out there at ringside for both.
She wanted to be a part of Beyond the Ropes. She was storing up the.
Yeah, they. I was gonna make a funny and say like, did Liv Morgan, Finn Balor, and AJ Styles just did the NWO just come back? Even though I know people are gonna say no, stupid, it's the Bullet Club's on, and I was gonna be like, I know, but anyways,
no, they're part of BTR.
They're part of BTR, yeah. Let's get them in some shirts, but so I just thought it was interesting. It was a little weird at first because she was like standing outside the ring. They won, they celebrated. She was still standing outside the ring, and then they finally brought her in.
Yeah, she wasn't convinced, and then she was hesitant.
But I feel like they're building, like you don't do that. Like you're building something. And I feel like are we building another stable here?
Yeah.
Like because that's not something you do if it's just like a one-off thing, right? And even if it is, I guess that's kind of cool because it's a little different. But I feel like this is something more. Like, are we getting a new tag team here? Is this something that's going to go beyond this? And if so, I'm like all kind of for it, right? Because there's some storytelling that just can be done out of these two. I like the Damian Priest Edge thing. You have Rhea Ripley there. I think it's a great dynamic. We talked about it on last week's show where it was like 2 or 3 different storylines coming together, and now we're getting into one storyline here. But they're both kind of talking about adding more because I think it was AJ or Finn. Like I think AJ tweeted or something where it's like, oh, this is only like the beginning for us too. Like like they were gonna add or do. There was some other piece coming for them too, and I'm not sure what that's gonna be for either side. Do you have any prediction? You think it's you?
It's gonna be me. I got the call.
Well, then I'm gonna be on the other side. I'm taking you out.
You're joining the Judgment Day.
Yep.
The Judgment Day.
Yep. I'm gonna wear all black. Or whatever they wear. Yeah, black. No, but like at this point, it's kind of like you're bringing in feuds, right? Like or it's almost like you're bringing in a rivalry, not a rivalry, but a story. Like who are they adding? That's what I'm saying. What is the story like? Where do you go? Like, do you just get you random? I mean, you could totally just get you randoms on each side, but it's kind of like, how do you just randomly get someone for both sides? Like, maybe you get a Ricochet. There's no one else on the Bullet Club on the roster, right?
Cody.
I mean, might as well. No.
What a team that would be.
I mean, that's an all-star team for sure. But I'm just like outside of.
I mean, no, there isn't anyone else.
But
I'm trying to think realistically who would
join each team. A Ricochet and Apollo, maybe. I think maybe you get one of the. Is Mace still Mace? I don't know. I think Mace would be. Who is he with?
Model
is that official or was that a one-time thing?
That was a pre-show thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it hasn't made anything more sense, right?
Get Dijakovic in there, T-Bar.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it someone like that? But it's like outside of that, I don't. And maybe that's the fun part, right? Like maybe like we don't have to know. Like I'm okay with not knowing either, but I'm just kind of like,
up.
And that's fine too. But like, are you calling someone up from both sides, or what are you doing? Like
what they call up? That's so many things. We have to think about this.
Because and for me, it's kind of like you almost have to go with the smaller guy for Edge and Priest, but you also need a bigger guy for AJ and
you need muscle.
Finn. Like you kind of need a muscle. Yeah, he doesn't need to be like a tall dude, but you need a muscle.
The T-Bar. You need T-Bar.
T-Bar is not muscle though, right? Like
he's a big guy though. He stands face to face with Priest.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably a little harder to determine for Finn and AJ more so than with the Judgment Day guys.
Cesaro would have been a perfect guy.
Would have, but for who? For Judgment Day or for AJ and?
I mean, I think he could AJ.
I think he could have worked on either side, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, but AJ and Finn, I think would have been just great.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to think, like, who would you get?
Nakamura.
Is he not doing anything with Roman? I mean, I can
They-
see
they mentioned
Nakamura because
something.
of some history, maybe with like
There's history with
AJ
Bullet
and
Club.
Finn. I can see that.
Like give him something to do.
It gives him something to do. I'm trying to think of like
I
I
would
feel
like
like
to see
it's
that.
gonna be Apollo Crews.
Who
That's kind of a
joins
big
Judgment
guy.
Day, though?
Who that's what I'm saying. Apollo Crews maybe, but maybe that's too big of a guy. Like I'm not sure where they go, but I do. But I like that we're talking about it and that there's this tease of like this is just to begin. Like neither side is done building, right? Which again kind of makes me think we're building towards some sort of Survivor Series thing or something, maybe. But I feel like just don't rush it,
I
don't
think it's
add too
happening at
quickly.
SummerSlam.
But that's well, part of me is like worried
That
about
or the
our Money in
Clash
the
at the
Bank
Castle.
or what.
Clash at the Castle and
That's fine too. Just make it count. Like make it
Mhm.
good. They're doing really good with both sides so far. I just like this whole dynamic of now Liv Morgan is just kind of like, is she gonna be at the side for every match of both?
She did the thing.
She did it. I mean, she did
She's
it.
BTR for life.
I like how they built it up, right? They kind of said, hey, like they kind of talked about it there, and then they did it, and she kind of hesitated, and then she did it, and so I thought, oh, that was great. I'm just curious to see where it all goes, but I'm down with it. I'm okay with it. I like it. I don't know how much time we have. I think we only have a couple minutes, so I just want to throw out some quick notes that I've seen on Twitter. Real quick, you can have a reaction. You cannot have a reaction. David Otunga was trending because he apparently made some sort of cameo in this new She-Hulk Disney Plus TV series that's coming out. Yeah, it was very brief. Like I watched the whole right, and because she's a lawyer, so it made me think there was going to be a bigger role for Otunga, but it doesn't look like it's going to be.
Probably not. So
he just kind of barely shows up in the preview, even though people made it out like he was a superhero. I thought he had become a superhero, but and then it looks like Jim Duggan is going to be going through a cancer treatment again. It looks like his cancer has returned. I think back in like December, November, he had gotten cleared. He'd gotten the all clear, but it looks like he may be going through another round of treatment.
Hear about Virgil?
I had heard something recently. I don't know. Is there any more updates? I think
he also has I think stage 2 colon cancer.
Okay.
So
yeah,
him too.
So there's that. And I think even Rob mentioned before, I think there was something with one of the Nasty Boys, maybe, but yeah, so those are just some news and notes that I saw. We talked about, I'm just looking at my notes here. Talked about Lacey Evans. Oh, do you want to talk about Ric Flair real quick?
Ric Flair is returning to action, James.
Where and why?
It's going to be on Fight TV or Fight app, whatever.
Why?
I don't know where. 73 years old.
Against who?
NWA.
I saw someone tweet this out before.
Cadorna.
Oh my God.
No,
I guess.
He threw it out there. I don't know.
The thing is who threw it out there?
Matt Cardona.
Oh, okay. I saw someone mention it. I was like, yeah, right. But then I saw like Ricky Morton tweeting it, who's going to be Flair's last match. And I was like,
6-man tag with FTR and against Midnight Express or Rock and Roll Express, whatever. I don't know. That's what I saw.
I don't know. MJF apparently isn't too happy with, or not. I don't know if he's not happy, but it doesn't look like he's going to be renewing his contract maybe with AEW.
He's trying to get leverage.
I mean, he could go to WWE. Like you're going to start getting departures and they're going to start being some surprise. Like, there's going to be surprises. I'm not
treat
surprised.
Cody well. If they treat him well, they keep doing it. You're going to see people leaving.
That's true. But at what point is it like, I mean, you're not going to treat everybody well.
No.
You know what I mean?
But Cody.
But I think you get a few. Yeah.
Cody has his guys.
I mean, Cody can put in a good word. Cody can get in contact with all these dudes if he needed to, right? So it's like, I'm not against it. I think MJF would be a great addition. I think they would treat him well.
We'll see. Maybe we'll get another new member of BTR in the coming weeks. Maybe we'll get Finn, AJ, or Liv to come on the show.
Maybe. So, yeah, right.
But until next time, this episode of Beyond the Ropes has been absolutely too sweet.